And welcome everyone popping on to another Fun at One. I'm your host, Allison Lee. We have some fun stuff coming up that I'm going to fill you in. We have I had a surprise guest. Everyone wanted to know who's the surprise guest. So you'll find out in a second. So we have lots of fun stuff to show you today. I just want to go over a little bit of how things work. I'm sure tons of you have been on our Fun at Ones before. Welcome back. Anyone new, it's great that you're coming on. Welcome, welcome. Uh, if you have any, we'll be showing videos and JPEGs. Right now, you should just be seeing the screen that says Fun at One. And if you have any issues like your sound, sometimes I've noticed with people, they might have a little problem with their sound dropping out. Just log out and log back in. That seems to fix it for most people. So give that a try. It really has to do with your internet speed. When we do a video, it might look jumpy, because everyone is online and has a million things open. Close as many of your windows as you can. That'll help as well, so that all of the energy is going to the presentation. Hi, Melinda from Connecticut. And so that's that. Here's how you get the recording to this. Just go on to craftcast.com. Tomorrow it'll be ready. You'll get an email when it's ready, and you just put it in your cart. When you're there, and if you're not buying anything, you just check out for free. It's a freebie. It'll be in your My Library at craftcast.com. But we still have the Love is in the Air sale going on. Feb 2021, you get 30% off all the classes. There's so many frigging good things over there. Here is what you see when you come on. A lot of people have been making this, I saw, and putting it on Facebook, which is phenomenal. I've seen some people doing some beautiful things. That's a February special. If you want to just go to the category you're interested in, just click here to see by subject. You can see it that way. Otherwise, you just go into video tutorials. There's pages and pages and pages and pages. Our live webinars will show you what's coming up live, which we have some metal clay and some polymer clay. You're going to be hearing about next week's class in just a few minutes. But you can always check there to see what is coming up live. And the fun part about live is you get the recording, you get a handout. You can ask your questions is really it. And even if you are at the recording, you still have a question, you just email us at support@craftcast.com. We get all your questions answered anyway. It's just a fun way to hang out online like this when you come to a live event. So I want you all to know that. So check out all those things. And let's see, I think that's everything. And we're going to start. Did I tell you all I needed to? I think I did. All right. So here's the story, what happened with this. Becker Simon, who is genius at everything she does with making jewelry, glass, you name it. You can look at all of her classes over at craftcast.com. She said to me, I saw this and she said she'd do a wire wrapping class for us. I was like, are you kidding me? That is phenomenal. Everyone who's on, has anyone taken this class yet? I'd love to know. Because I got addicted because that's what happens when we see pictures like this and we get addicted. And so I said, would you come on? She's going to do a second class. You're going to see some pictures from that. That'll be coming up, a live one. But I said, how about we show things? I'm going to show what I did, because if I can do it, you can do it, is what I'm saying. And she's going to walk us through one of the things that was part of the class, which was the bonus, which is a fun bead you'll love. So Barbara, why don't you just sort of fill us in for people who didn't take the class about what's in there and what we're looking at.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Wire work is something that I learned, gosh, I don't know. I figured out, when was it? Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, from a wonderful person called Lynn Merchant. And I fell in love with it because it's so immediate. All you need are your pliers, your wire, and some flush cutters, basically. That's it. So you can travel around with a shoebox and do this. I've been doing it for a long time, and I just thought, oh, I bet Allison would enjoy this.
I'm laughing because I got immediately addicted. And let me ask people out there, what Barbara just said is true. It is easy. You don't need a lot of things. Okay, there's a lot of people on who took the class and loved it.
Good.
you don't need how many people have wires still in their stash that's sitting there and you're wondering what to do with? I don't remember
Ooh.
why we all got into the colored wire, but we did, and I had a whole thing of it. Yes. Okay, good. I just want to know you have
Mhm.
tons of wire. Yeah. Okay. It wasn't just me to find all this wire that I had. And so it is really fun to start. Um, and Julie, I see your note there. You have tons of wire. I know, right? All right. So here are some of the shapes that Barb shows us in this class.
Mhm.
And there's some more
Yeah.
right there.
And this in the wirework class, the first wirework number 1 for CraftCast, these are the projects that you are going to learn in there. And I'm going to add to that in the next wirework
And I'm going to show what you're
class.
adding because it's frigging, I'm already addicted to that too. All right. So we want to really acknowledge Lynn Merchant really showed you the
Yeah,
way.
she's the mother of all this. No one else came up with all this stuff. These are some examples of her work. I unfortunately couldn't find a lot of pictures of her stuff online. I don't know why, but
Well, some
well, she's
people
very
aren't
sort of
online.
well, and she's a very she's not like out there with her stuff. She's very private about it, I guess you'd call it. She doesn't give webinars. She didn't used to
Hmm.
travel to do workshops and stuff like that. Has never done a video that I know of.
Good for her.
So yeah, well, it's how she wants to
Yeah.
to roll.
Exactly. I mean, I think people should do it their own way. All right. So you're going to show us, though, today this bead called the croissant
Hmm.
bead. That's part of that class. It's
Hmm.
actually a bonus. And
Yeah,
we're going to watch a video and you're going to explain to us how to do this.
yeah.
Uh,
Lynn would name all her beads, and this is the one she called the croissant bead, which
you'll
you'll
see.
figure
Makes
out why.
sense. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to roll the video. There it
Okay.
is, looking all. Um, it's a great layered look, too. Uh,
Yeah, you can go big with it, you can go small with it. I had a student once who made one that was about 4 inches long. It was awesome. So again, here's a really long one, and it's made out of copper and sterling. And I've got some more examples here. Different, some of them can be fat, some of them can be skinny. You have a lot of determination about the actual end form. Here's one that I made with a thin anodized aluminum sheet and copper. Uh, as long as your metal that you're using is malleable and bendable, you can incorporate it. So again, here's a long skinny one and a shorter fat one. So
I love how you can use all the different metals, and the copper looks great in this.
yeah, and I don't shine the copper up or anything. I'm sort of a person who is non-shiny with my metalwork. Here's a one that's completely out of sterling, and you can see the delicately hammered edges on there. So
Mhm.
you can texture the sheet as well if you wanted to. So
Oh, I have
I
to
don't know
remember
what's
that.
next here.
I didn't texture my sheet. I have to make more.
Yeah, there's one there down there that has a textured
I see
sheet,
it. Yep.
plus one that I used a fancy scissors on and started cutting it
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's only the edges that you see once you roll it up.
Got
So
it.
the sample here is a 10 inches of 20 gauge wire and some 30 gauge copper sheet. It's got to be really thin metal. And this is what I have, what I'm showing you is this thin copper that I have. And the initial form is triangular, but I'm going to cut the tips off, as you can see there. So it actually comes out to be sort of a six-sided form.
Mhm, mhm.
And you can see one's long and skinny, one's long and short. And it depends on what you start with this sheet.
Mhm, mhm.
That will end up what the bead looks like eventually.
Okay.
So
Hold
are
on.
we on another?
No, the video is
Okay.
just being weird. Hold on a second.
All right.
Let me
Weird
just
video.
let me just fix it a second here. It just sort of
All
stalled.
right.
And let me ask you something where I'm getting back to that point and fixing it. Those
Yeah.
scissors you used, are those just the typical scrapbooking
They're
scissors?
just
Okay.
they're just sheet cutting scissors that you'd get at a hardware
Okay.
store or
Okay.
any place like that. Yeah, if you use your regular scissors, they're not going to last very long, I
Okay.
don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, although you certainly could, but
There we
I
go.
always
All right.
believe in the correct tool for the task you're doing. So I laid out a little triangle guy and kind of laid out my midline, and it should be symmetrical, as symmetrical as you can get it, because you won't get a nice little symmetrical shape if you don't have a
Okay.
symmetrical triangle. So the center line is always perpendicular to the baseline of the triangle. And here I am cutting off the points, because the points are a little dangerous in that they can scratch
Mm-hmm.
scratch your skin when you do it. And the point at the very apex of the triangle needs to come off because of its positioning in the final wrap. So now I'm going to get some pliers. Round nose pliers is what we need for this. And in the Craftcast video, the complete one, I talk about pliers and what they do and why you use them and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to start with some pliers, and I'm going to begin a bend and turn it around and mimic that on the other side. And I want to eventually get a tight little tube, because that little tube is actually the hole of my bead, that you're going to string your silver wire through,
Mm-hmm.
or your
Mm-hmm.
wire through. So I need to make it tight. So I go back and forth and back and forth. I'll even use my fingertips to press it in if I need to. But you kind of got to get this sorted out before you begin the final structure of this little bead. So now that I've got it tight, I'm going to keep putting my pliers in there, and I'm going to just roll a little from one side, turn it around, roll a little from the other side, always trying to keep it symmetrical, roll it some more. And you can get to a certain point where if your fingers are strong enough, you can roll it with your
Mm-hmm.
fingers
Mm-hmm.
now. You don't have to. You can continue to use the pliers, but I'm just going to roll it along, because at this point it's easier to drop the pliers. So it's coming to the final end there. It's looking symmetrical. And so what's going to be left is that little tab that I just need to flop down. So there's your base structure. And as you can see on the text up there, the triangular shape that I used right here was a 1-inch base by a 3-inch length. And so that's the size of the bead that I ended up with. So now I am going to take some, I guess this looks more like 18 gauge, because I'm going to make what I call the naked link that keeps this sort of together.
Okay.
And I'm going to make a loop. And this is all stuff you learn in the
Full class.
Craftcast.
Yep.
Yep. And so I make a loop, and I need to make that loop look more like a lollipop rather than a sort of off-center thing. So I'm placing my pliers in there and giving it a little bit of a crank, and then you get this really beautiful lollipop shape. And I'm going to fit it through here. And one of the tricks to doing the croissant bead is that you have to leave a little space there between the end of the loop and the copper part. There needs to be some play in there. You don't want to make it tight up there, because as you can see, you're going to be coiling the ends of your wrapping wire around there. So you need the space. So when you're making the loop for the center of the bead, you want to make sure you leave some room there and don't make it tight. So this is how you make the loop on the other side of something when you don't know what length you need. People are always saying, well, how long do I need to make that? Well, you don't have to worry about it. Just leave a lot of excess and pick your spot and go. So this then becomes a little bit of a different approach than making that initial loop. So I'm going to come up underneath, make it into my lollipop shape there. And it looks like I made that a little too big, so I'm going to adjust that shape there. I wasn't paying attention because there's a way you can make it the exact same shape as your first loop. And I do talk about that in the Craftcast thing.
But I like seeing that you adjusted it. I mean, this
yeah,
all was helpful information.
Oh yeah, nothing is written in stone here. So I have this excess tail on here, so I'm going to take my precious, beautiful flush cutters and I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to zhuzh it around a little bit because it's kind of a wonky shape here. And I want to get rid of that bend because it really was off a little bit. So it's good to see, you know, zhuzhing.
Correction. I agree. It helped me a lot.
Everybody's got to zhuzh at some point in time. And I'm hopefully going to come back to making this my nice lollipop the way I want it. There it is. Hello, lollipop. And then we can get to the business of making the wrap. Now I'm going to keep zhuzhing here. Here, finally.
Nice.
Okay. So, and you can see I've got play in there. You can see you know, it's not tight. The loops aren't tight against the croissant because you need that space for your extra wrapping, which is what we're going to see in the next video. So now I have my 20 gauge wire, and all this wire is what's called dead soft because we want to be able to bend it without resistance. So I'm going to find the center of the wire. You know, you can get your ruler out if you want to, but it's not that necessary. And I'm going to take my pliers, which I call the baby rounds because they're really small round nose pliers, and I'm going to place them in the center. You want to pick the spot on your jaws where you want to grab it with the pliers because I want to make a very small little bend here. And so I'm just taking that wire and I'm just sort of bending it and wrapping it around the pliers. You notice I didn't take the pliers out. They remain in my hand with a pretty firm grip. And so what I've made there is what I call the yin-yang bend, I guess, because it's this yin-yang, this extra mass of wire that is going to hold down and protect that little tab. You see that little tab at the end there. So here's a little finesse that I do, and that is that if I want to wrap this wire really has a flat profile, and if I want to wrap it around a rounded object, it's going to be kind of funny. It's going to stick out and not be tight against it. So I'm going to attempt with a couple of pair of pliers to bend that sort of that yin-yang symbol, kind of crank it in the middle, like you see my hand going, so that it fits the rounded profile of that croissant. So I'm going to take a pair of flat nose pliers, which happen to be my chain nose, and I'm going to grab it halfway down the yin-yang, and then I'm going to grab another pair of pliers. I just grabbed my round nose, but because I wanted a pair of pliers that had a very small opening jaw, kind of a needle point. And so you see I've made it rounded. that way by just cranking it once. And it was flat, now it's rounded. So it's going to fit the rounded profile a little bit better. You do not have to do this. Like I said, it's a little kind of suavity and nice touch to do. Um, okay. I don't know what I'm trying to say with my hands right
I
now.
do, because I
Okay.
learned from you. This is when you said you have to roll away from yourself when you're wrapping it around.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, I'm positioning it in such a way that the tail is sort of sticking up in the air
Mhm.
towards the right side of the yin yang. And I'm going to get a good grip on with my left hand, like a vice, holding that yin yang down over the tab. Make sure it stays over the tab and doesn't slip around. And then I'm going to grasp the other end very firmly with my right hand, and I'm going to start wrapping it around. You can see that. Just a couple of rounds, and it slips off. That's okay. I'm going to reposition it right over that tab, because the yin yang keeps that tab from getting caught and coming unraveled as you're wearing the bead. So it's important to do that. So grabbing with my left hand like a vice, really tight, and then wrapping with my right hand. Couple times. Make sure, go back. Is it over the tab? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, grab it again. Wrap and wrap. And now I'm going to get to the end of the copper part, and I want to grab a hold and make sure that it wraps itself one time over the silver wire. Make sure again, check it again to make sure the tab is where it should be, underneath the yin yang. And then I'm going to turn it around and wrap the other side. Again, you don't want to wrap it completely, just you're going to go sort of bit by bit here. Make sure you position it so that you have even amounts of the silver wire outside of the copper. And I'm going to grab it in my vice grip, and I'm going to wrap again. And this time I'm going to check it. I only wrapped it once. The tab is covered, because at this point, without wrapping it a lot, I can still readjust
Mm.
and make sure that it's covered the tab. And once I've done that, I'll position it in the middle, and I'm just going to wrap, 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 wrap till I can't anymore. Go on the other side and wrap it tightly, one coil after the other, so it looks neat and tidy. And I get to a point where I can't wrap it anymore. And I'm going to finish off on the other side. And you can count the number of wraps if you want to make it even. So I'm going to go in there with my flush cutters, and I'm going to get real close and trim it. That's what those pointy ends of the flush cutter are for. It's for when you can't get into a space. And once that's done, go for it. Put some
Voila.
jump rings in there and attach it.
I love it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, that's just one of the bonuses from this class. There's lots of other beads you're going to learn to make in that class. So I just wanted to show you what I did. I'm sort of, and I sort of freaked out because I was definitely got addicted. And so, and here's the thing: I watched that video, paused it, did it, paused it, did
Mm-hmm.
it, because of
Yep.
everything you just said. It does really help. Let me take a question first, though. Mags, what did you want? What did you say there, hon? Is there a reason for small round pliers versus larger?
Well, yeah, because if you go shopping for round nose pliers, you will find all kinds of different
Yeah, yeah,
jaws, from the babies to big honkers. And there's times when you want to place something in the far end of the jaws so that it makes the very smallest circular bend.
yeah.
And so and this particular set of pliers is called Lindstrom, the ones with the white handles. And they're made in Sweden, and they're specifically for people who do electronics work. and they fit in the palm of your hand, and they're just a small scale. And so I learned about these from Lynn Merchant, and I'd been using my regular pliers for a long time, and she said, "Here, try these," and I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I immediately sent away.
Yeah, no, the pliers, like you said in the class, are really key. Leah just wanted to know what's the brand of flush cutters you like?
I like several. I like Swanstrom, and I like the Lindstrom, and oh shoot, there's one that begins with a TY, Tyrex or Ty. Oh, Pooey. Um, those are three good ones. And be prepared to spend, like about $30 or even more on flush cutters. You will never regret it. Take care of them and they will last forever. And they are such a time saver. You can't believe it.
Yeah,
Because if you use a flush cutter, you don't have to go and use a file to finish off the raggedy end of the wire.
yes, take Ms. Simon's advice with that. I agree. After taking the class, I did the same thing, and I went out, and there are links. Oh, Danelle said Lindstrom are your favorite. Yeah, there are links. The handle that comes with that class has links to everything and cutters and all of that. So that is helpful as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
I talk about them.
Tieback, is that a was that what or Tronex? Not
Tie,
Tronex, is
oh,
that the
that's
okay.
Tronex. That's it.
Yep.
Tronex. I
Thank
love
you,
them.
ladies. You guys are good. Yeah, I saw that too when I was ordering them as well. Um,
Yeah,
and
they're good. All three of those are excellent.
and so in here, the croissant is so much fun because you can do it with so many colors and different things. And there's
Hmm.
so many other great fun beads that you showed us in there. So I'm just going to show you guys this because I was able to do this after the video. That is significant if you knew me. So now I have a little video of all the ones I made. It was so much fun. And then I
Yeah,
have something
it's
else that'll make you laugh, Barb. So I found, of course, some beads. So I did what you just showed us with the
yeah.
croissant on that bead.
Oh, yeah. It's
Um,
fabulous.
and then I did all the other ones you taught us.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
exactly what you said about making that little yin yang and flattening it and
mhm,
wrapping.
mhm,
Uh, and then I think I show you, yeah, that was again, you can wrap all those odds and ends you have. Now, these
mhm.
croissants, believe it or not, I used sheet pewter, which we
Oh,
use in some
perfect.
other classes, and it's really thin and
Mhm.
easy to wrap. And then
Oh, yeah.
this, what did
The
you tell me
gizmo.
that yeah, the gizmo, the wire gizmo. Of course, yeah. But
I may cover that in my second wire
okay,
work.
good. That's good. All right, I'm going to show too. This was one of my favorites. What's that called
Yeah.
again?
The coochie coil.
Coochie coil. I mean, come on.
Isn't
Uh,
that gorgeous?
and I think you called that a double croissant in class when you put two.
Oh, yeah, you made a little waist,
I
on
did.
it.
I
Yes,
did.
yes, yes,
And then
yes.
that one's covered in class. I love. Now, here's the thing that I learned is that any one of those beads alone makes a great piece if you just kept doing
Yeah,
those. I
yeah.
mean, so anyway, I made lots of them. So thank you. And now I did want to
I'm
show you
so
this.
proud.
Thank you. Now look at this, you'll laugh. So in that class, Barb talked about this bead book, and of course I had to
Oh,
find
yeah.
it from thrift books. I recommend thrift books if you're looking for things. They're really good and they deliver right away.
Mhm.
And I typed it in there, and this was great for learning
I
some
know.
other kind of shapes. And it was made really for paper and things, but
Yep.
you can incorporate it into I love this pigs and whatever little animals. Uh, but what a fun book of inspiration to try some other
Mhm.
things. And obviously, you can practice in paper. But there's lots of shapes and things. Well, you talk about a lot of different ones in class and putting color on the edges and all the different things. So I thought this
Yeah.
was fun too. I just wanted to show you guys. You can find that. It's old. Tina Casey. And just look around thriftbooks.com. I think is a great source for finding different things like that. Uh, Now let's see what else. We have some other questions. Max, you make croissants in polymer too. Well, there you go. Polymer clay.
Sure.
Hello. We can do it in all of these. Margaret, wow. Did you make the bead with ripples? Are you talking about me, Margaret? Or did you mean one of the ones that Barb just showed us? And Rita
I
wanted to
think
know.
she's talking about the sort of pleated ones, the pleated copper ones. Yeah.
That I did?
Yeah, in the copper beads there.
Oh, I
I
didn't
think
make
that's what
those.
she's talking
Okay,
about.
thank
No,
you.
those are manufactured.
The round zigzags. No, 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 no. I didn't. Those were things I found in my stash. And I just said, well, let me try doing what I learned from Barb. And I started doing wire wraps around them. So I just found them all because we have so many things. I have no idea. I probably got them at some show and something like that, or, one of those kind of sale of bags of something. Um, and just played around with them. So now here's what. So we love this. Everyone made great things. Barb's going to do part two. And this is just a little sneak peek of what's coming up. And this is called the Etruscan link. Is that correct, Barb?
That's what Lynn called it. And it's got, here you see it being used as a linking mechanism. And here it is. I made a bracelet with it, which is just gorgeous because it has such a slinky
Oh, I love it.
movement to it. Yeah. So I'm going to show how to make this particular element.
I love it. And it's just the temptation is when you want to learn to make all of them, and then you want to see, but what can you make with just one of them? Because the designs are so beautiful. And I love the
Yeah.
Calder bead that you showed us and all of that. That one
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
um, all the different Calders and the Coochie beads and the things inside. It's great fun.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
It is. Lynn Merchant has given us a gift.
Yeah, it's just great. Maureen, you love the spirals. I love the spirals too, Maureen. Um, you have, Julie, I also have tons of beads to go with my tons of wire, which is why I took the class. You are you are with your tribe, Julie. We all are like that. This is true. Um, let's see. Oh, you heard of a tool at Rio, Margaret, that you can use to ripple and make the plate like that. Well, there you go. I just had them in my stash of leftover little beads, and I thought I'm going to use them. But it is a pretty shape for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, so there you go, guys. You can sign up for that Ultimate Wire Work and Wrap Workshop. You'll see it on Craftcast. Use your 30% off. If you're in a snowstorm, like we keep getting there, it's a great way to stay occupied and have fun. Uh, and come away with something that's like, whoa, that's so much fun. There's a lot of immediate gratification, which I think we all need right now,
Yeah.
personally. That's all I'm saying,
Definitely.
right? It's so much
Yeah.
fun. I mean, you can walk away
Yeah.
with something like that. Just take all your
Yeah.
goodies, and I mean, nothing wrong with
There's
that.
no soldering. There's no
No soldering, no,
buffing. There's
nope,
no waiting for something to
nope,
pickle.
nope,
Nothing.
nope,
Just boom, done.
nope. It's like coloring book with wire.
Yeah.
And you'll see how many fun things. All right, darling, thank you for that. And everyone will get
Oh,
you'll
you're
get
welcome.
emails about when the next class is available, and we send out newsletters and everything, so you'll see when that's coming up. And all right, now metal clay. Who's on that loves metal clay?
Me.
I know, right? Oh, Margaret just said thanks in an ice storm. Exactly, Kathy. All right, everyone's saying everyone's loving metal clay. I knew that. Okay. All right, so I want to introduce our special guest today, Tracy Spurgeon, who we adore. Tracy has a site, craftworks.co.uk in the UK. She does amazing projects. She has lots of classes at CraftCast. She has lots of classes online at her site, all different projects. She teaches great classes for us. So I said, why don't you come on and talk about your upcoming class? And she said, okay. So thank you, Tracy, for coming on and doing that.
You're welcome. It's great to be along.
I love this project. I had asked Tracy to do something that was raw beginner because a lot of people are nervous to jump into metal clay because it's more expensive than polymer. And so you don't want to waste. I hear your pain. So Tracy came up with like a foolproof beginner class. But I also said to her, as well as, I mean, she will say this, anyone can start. But I always think if you've been away for something for like, you took a workshop 2 years ago and you want to get back into something and you want to have success, you don't want to have failure. This is the class for you. So tell us what you're going to show us. This is coming up next Saturday live.
Absolutely. So this class, as you say, I've done a lot of sort of more advanced intermediate classes for you in the past, but for this one, we went absolutely right back to basics to appeal to the absolute beginner. If you've never tried silver clay before and you fancy having a little dabble, or as you say, if someone's, did it a little while back and they're just going, well, I can't remember all the details, or they're concerned about whether they've got the right tools or, how am I going to fire this? All of these kind of questions are going to be addressed in this workshop. So taking it right back to absolute beginner level here.
Which you just read my mind, because that's what goes through my head too. So
yeah. So there's an awful lot to pick up through the tutorial. So it's right back to the beginning of making the basic preparations. And if you think you've got to have a whole lot of great tools or expensive tools here, I'm going to show you some of the alternatives that you can use. You don't have to have expensive tools here. There's some very basic things you can use. And if you're already crafty and making jewelry, which is why you're here, then you've probably got lots of things that you can already use at home.
I love this pendant. I love it. And it looks like spring to me. It's hopeful for spring. It looks like things are starting to bloom.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little vine with some leaves coming off it. So yeah, it's got a nice little theme to it. So we'll be rolling out the clay to an even thickness and getting that texture into it and cutting out a shape. Now again, you don't have to have heaps of tools here because I show you how to create your own paper patterns and things like that. And then we'll be addressing all the drying times and temperatures and firing times and temperatures. We'll be making the little components of the leaves and the twigs and the little spots and dots, and all of this is all included in the tutorial. So there's an awful lot to pick up here. Lots of tips and hints along the way about refining your piece and getting it fantastic. And you don't have to build the whole thing all in one go. It's about taking your time and making every little individual leaf and every little twig and letting them dry. And then once all your pieces are dry, we can refine them and then we can start to construct. So that's called dry construction.
I'm excited. It's beautiful. It's and I'm also, I know that you're very calming for us to get nervous that didn't work or we had a problem, and I appreciate that. Thank you. You make it doable for all of us. So and it's a fun project. So this is coming up next Saturday live. And just knowing what's great is when you come on live, if you've had a particular problem and a particular question, we can address it right there. And then we share it because everyone has the same questions is really the truth of the matter. So I'm very excited that Tracy was willing to take on a class that was beginner like this to really walk us through that because, people are hesitant about it. So we're excited. Next Saturday here live at Craftcast, you can. That's what it looks like when you go to sign up for the class. It'll tell you the materials that Tracy is using. You'll get the recording because we always say, just watch, don't do when we're doing the class. That's just too much. Because then, it's easier to watch, ask your questions, and then it's all recorded with a handout. So you're in good shape after the class. So that's the best way to see it. And like I said, take advantage of, did everyone write down that coupon code, the Feel the Love, February FEB 2021. You'll get 30% off. So it's great. So Tracy, thanks for coming on and talking about that. And we look forward to playing with you next Saturday and making a beautiful pendant. I'm excited. Okay, so one more thing just to finish up today. AMCA. Who knows about AMCA? Type in there if you're familiar with AMCA. You do. Yes, I do. Let me tell you about it. This is another great resource for metal clay and learning things. It's the Alliance for Metal Clay Arts Worldwide. So I'm just going to tell you a few different things about it. join it. Donnell, you know about it. It's great. I believe it's $60 for the year. You get lots of advice, tutorials, all kinds of fun stuff. It's the link is in your handout too. You can just click it. Let's see. Right now they have over 30 tutorials. They did a virtual guild session. I don't know. I've lost track of time. Let's say 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And Corrine Gerhog did a tension setting ring. That was advanced. She also did for us right after that. She did a class there and a class on Craftcast. Her rose and gem totem. Gorgeous. So great classes from everyone. You'll learn a lot. You can ask your questions. I just think it's great to have a resource when something's not working. That's how I feel. It's like, why isn't this working? And someone can tell you how easy it was to fix it. So you'll learn, get answers to your questions. Here's something they gave me that said it's coming up. Cindy Silas is doing a little tutorial. That's metal clay with colored. You'll have to find out what it is, but it's really pretty what she did. That's a tutorial you get if you join. And then Lizelle Crowley, who passed away a few months ago, and she was the one that said to me, Allison, you need to be on the board over at AMCA. We have classes of hers on our website. A lovely woman, amazing teacher. This is the Lizelle Crowley Vision Award. They're taking nominations. Nominate who you think has done something in your community for metal clay, for advancing it, for sharing it, all of the above. The promotion of metal clay, even outside the metal clay community. They're going to start doing Vision Awards in her name and her honor, which is lovely. And that's a beautiful picture of her. So check out AMCA. Again, the link is in your handout. Oh, it's also right there, amcaw.org. Easy. And sign up. I don't think you'll regret it. Great resources there. So that is do we have any questions? You belong. Great, Mary Beth. I know. We miss her. She is great. Paul. Oh, you're welcome, Paula. So many great resources for everyone. Write down your coupon code. Take your handout. You will get an email. If you want to listen to the recording, maybe watch the croissant bead being made again, you'll get an email within the next 24 hours that'll tell you it's ready over at the Craftcast site. You can put it in your cart, check out for free, or check out when you buy other things, throw it in there. There is tons of freebies in there right now. We have so many free fun things to learn. So enjoy all of those. Donnell, you said use Chrome, not Safari for AMCA. Good idea. Yeah, there's issues with both browsers, I have to say right now. But yeah, if you get frustrated, just switch your browser. It'll work better. And that's that. I'm excited. You'll all get an email when we do our next Fun at One. We like to do them now. I'm not doing them every week because we have live classes every week. So we're trying to squish it all in. But there's other fun stuff in the works. I'm just saying you're going to want to come back and take a look at everything. And Jennifer said she had no problem with Safari on AMCA. So there you go. Probably has to do with your own computer too. So thank you everyone for coming. I look forward to seeing you again on the next one or in live class or whatever. If you have any questions, just email us over at support@craftcast.com. And a big applause to our guests today, Ms. Barbara Becker Simon and Ms. Tracy Spurgeon. Thank you so much for coming on and showing us things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, honey. I'll see you next Saturday. Everyone, have a good day. Stay safe and stay healthy. And we look forward to seeing you again.